Have you ever held a coin in your hand? Perhaps you've just used one to buy a drink. Or maybe you found an old coin tucked away in a drawer. But what if I told you that each coin is a tiny piece of history, a metal storybook that has traveled through time? British coins, in particular, hold an incredible tale. They tell the story of a nation. They speak of kings, queens, wars, and peace. They show us how a small island became a global power. This is not just a story about money, it is the story of Britain itself told through the very objects that people have held in their hands for over 2,000 years. Why should this story matter to you, especially if you are watching from America? The history of Britain and the history of America are deeply connected. The first colonists who sailed to the New World carried British coins in their pockets. These coins were the first currency used in the early American colonies. Understanding the history of British coins gives us a unique window into our shared past. In this journey, we will travel back through the centuries. Our story begins over 2,000 years ago, in a time of ancient Celtic tribes. For a long time, these tribes did not use coins at all. They traded goods directly. The first coins were brought over from Europe. They were high-value items, symbols of power and wealth, not for everyday shopping. Eventually, the tribes in Britain began to make their own coins, covered in abstract and symbolic designs. The horse was a particularly powerful symbol, representing status, warfare, and perhaps even their gods. In 43 AD, everything changed. The powerful Roman army landed on the shores of Britain. The abstract Celtic coins gradually disappeared, replaced by Roman gold, silver, and bronze. Roman coins were the ancient world's internet. The front featured the emperor's portrait, while the back broadcast news and propaganda. Coins were even issued with a figure representing Britannia, one of the first personifications of the nation as a female figure. But by the early 5th century, the legions were withdrawn. The sophisticated monetary system faded, and the island entered a new, uncertain age. After the Romans left, coins seemed to vanish for about 200 years. People went back to trading goods and services directly. Slowly, coins reappeared. First, tiny gold thrimses, then small silver coins called sciatas, with a wild variety of designs. Then, King Offa of Mercia introduced a new, standardized silver coin, the Anglo-Saxon penny. It was a powerful statement of royal authority. But just as order was returning, a new storm was gathering. Viking raiders began to attack. The Vikings settled and began minting their own coins, often copying English pennies but adding their own warrior symbols. Alfred the Great of Wessex fought back, and his coins were symbols of resistance and the dream of a unified English kingdom. His successors pushed back the Vikings, and King Athelstan decreed a single currency for the entire kingdom. The silver penny, with the king's head on the front and a cross on the back, became the enduring symbol of a unified England. In 1066, the Anglo-Saxon era came to a violent end at the hands of William, Duke of Normandy. The Normans kept the efficient penny system, but replaced the king's portrait. The coin in your hand was a daily reminder of the conquest. For centuries, the silver penny remained the only coin, but its quality declined as people clipped tiny pieces of silver from the edges. In 1279, Edward I launched a great recoinage, introducing a new penny with a long cross to the edge to stop clipping. He also introduced new coins like the groat, halfpenny, and farthing, ending the need to physically cut pennies for small change. As England grew richer, Edward III reintroduced gold coinage with the noble, a symbol of England's growing naval and commercial might. The Tudor dynasty began with Henry VII, who introduced the magnificent gold sovereign, a stunning piece of royal propaganda. He also introduced the shilling, the first English coin to feature a realistic portrait, creating a personal connection with his subjects. His son, Henry VIII, drained the treasury and began the Great Debasement, mixing silver with cheap copper, earning him the nickname Old Copper Nose. The Stuart era led to civil war, where both sides minted crude siege coins from melted-down silver platters to pay their soldiers. After the monarchy was restored, Charles II introduced milled coinage, using machines to create perfect, secure coins and ending the age of the hammer. The Georgian era was the age of the magnificent gold guinea, the definitive coin of the wealthy elite. Its value was fixed by Sir Isaac Newton, master of the mint, a decision that put Britain on a de facto gold standard. But for ordinary people, there was a severe shortage of official small change, forcing businesses to produce their own private trade tokens. The solution came from the Industrial Revolution. Manufacturer Matthew Boulton used steam power to make coins better and faster than ever before. The result was the magnificent cartwheel penny, the first official British coin made by steam power. After the Napoleonic Wars, the Great Recoinage of 1816 introduced a new gold coin to replace the guinea, the sovereign. The sovereign became the unofficial currency of the world, and branch mints were opened across the empire to meet demand. Queen Victoria was the first monarch whose coin portrait changed as she aged, charting her journey from a young girl to the matriarch of an empire. The Victorian era also saw the introduction of the florin, an early experiment with the idea of decimal currency. The First World War was a cataclysm. The government needed gold, and the beautiful sovereign vanished from circulation almost overnight. The war also forced a reduction in the silver content of coins. Then, after the Second World War, silver was removed completely. For the first time in over 1,000 years, silver was no longer part of Britain's circulating coinage, replaced by a cheaper copper-nickel alloy. By the 1960s, Britain's ancient currency system, with 240 pence to a pound, was holding the country back. On February 15, 1971, Britain switched to a decimal currency. The pound would now be divided into 100 new pence. The old large pennies and shillings were gone, replaced by a new, simpler family of coins. But the coinage didn't stop changing. New coins were introduced, and old ones were made smaller and lighter. In 2008, a clever new design spread a single image of the royal shield across 6 different coins, encouraging people to look closer at their change. And in 2017, a new 12-sided pound coin was introduced, called the most secure coin in the world, to combat counterfeiting. The Royal Mint also produces commemorative coins, celebrating key moments in British history and culture, turning money into national souvenirs. After the death of Queen Elizabeth II, her successor, King Charles III, appeared on all new coins, facing the opposite direction, a tradition of continuity stretching back centuries. In an age of digital transactions, some predict coins might disappear, but they carry the weight of history in a way that a digital number on a screen never can. For America, this story is a shared heritage. The first coins in the colonies were British, and the foundations of the American economic system were built on these origins. So the next time you have a coin in your hand, take a moment. You're holding not just money, but a piece of an incredible 2,000-year-old story, a story that's still unfolding.